Hello everybody, and today we are going to be watching another Millennium League game between two people, Chris and Tim. And today we're here with three people to commentate. I'm Nam.
And I'm Chris.
And I'm Tim.
And they are the guys that are actually going to be playing today. So,
woo! Go figure.
Yeah.
That's me, Chris, on the left-hand side, running as Kate.
Kate.
You can tell because he's wearing the snazzy shirt.
Yes.
Gotta look good for Netrunner.
Yeah. You gotta intimidate your opponent. That's what it's all about.
That's true.
And Tim.
And I'm there on the right playing the Foundry.
Intimidate has Tim in it.
That's right.
Wow.
I'm 2 steps ahead.
I'm already scared.
Yeah.
So classic start from Tim. And I'm quite frightened.
And
I dropped the
here comes the
Proco.
Proco.
You only have to be frightened if you were going to run, so
Yes.
you're probably okay.
I love seeing Procon in my opening hand.
Yeah, that is, and then prepaid voice pad right after that.
I love seeing prepaid voice pad.
This
in my
is
opening
when
hand.
I get a little nervous.
Now, this is an interesting thing here because, so, Chris, you're probably running, Event Kate, right?
Yes.
Tons of events, all the events,
That's true.
Maker's Eye, legwork. Obviously, it'll help with things like Sure Gamble, which everybody's probably running anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But, as we just saw, Tim, do you know if you took a mulligan this game?
I do not believe I did. I think I saw I had 1 agenda in there. I have 2
You
now.
had 3 agendas in your
Double
head,
pad.
Yes.
I think.
And so Kate does take a little bit of time to set up, so I'm probably trying to just blitz out agendas if I can.
Mm-hmm.
So I likely kept a hand that had some agendas in it. And there's another one of those wonderful, successful
Yes.
demonstrations.
And I got the full 5 because of the prepaids.
Yes.
But yeah, it's once I have an SMC and some money, then I'll start running.
Right.
But it's true, I can't just... I'm a little afraid to just go head first.
Right.
And maybe that's more me as a player as opposed to the build.
Yeah.
But one of the big things, knowing what you're saying about, obviously it's going to be an event-heavy build. When I see the Foundry, I get nervous and a little worried because in Shaper, I rely so much on indexing. Mm-hmm. And Foundry very, very, very seriously turns off indexing.
Yes.
For those listeners who might not know what I'm talking about, the Foundry's ability is when you res a piece of ice, you search your deck for another copy, and then you shuffle. So if I index, all Tim on the corpse side, as the Foundry has to do, is choose not to res something, and then when I run back to get those things, I move to the top, res that ice, shuffle it up.
Yes.
That being said, you can kind of use it that knowledge against him in a way, but you still would have wasted your indexing.
It's true.
So, yeah.
All right, and so I tried to get the fast agenda before I saw you get set up, and you called my bluff by test running a Fem onto the piece of ice.
Love it.
Well, who wouldn't do that if they could?
Yeah.
Who needs an AI breaker when you have a Fem?
Yes.
Come on.
Fem is the perfect AI.
You res it anyway.
And it's a Galahad.
Might as well
Might as well make us spend some money, get some ice going.
get another copy.
Shuffle
Yeah.
the deck.
Shuffle the deck, it's true.
Yeah. I mean, that's honestly a lot of the reason I run a rush deck out of Foundry instead of Engineering the Future is it lets you get ice really fast. Mm-hmm. And so they run your central and you get the ice to score out of a remote, which is what a lot of the times Rush is looking for. But in this case, you just grab my agenda and move along with your day.
Got that
Tim, you were
accelerated
gambling
beta
man,
test.
and you lost.
I lost, as I often do gambling.
Not in a legitimate sense, just in case his wife is listening.
Yeah. She would never listen to this.
So I am my turn dropping the clone chip.
There are a few things I'm sure of in this world.
Which I do have to pay for because
Yes.
test run counted as installing
Yes,
FAM.
I saw you attempt
Correct.
to cheat there and leaned into the frame to remind you that you were in fact a cheater.
Yeah. My mistake.
Now, I like the way that Tim places his ice, because I've actually noticed that there's some other players who will actually flip their ice the other way sometimes when they check and look, and it's like, well, give the runner a glance.
Yeah.
If they do it really quick, it might not matter, but just the sheer etiquette of,
Yeah.
it only hurts you if you give them a glance.
And these are like the weird things that you kind of get used to is putting your ice down a certain way, shuffling your deck so you don't show them the bottom cards all the time.
Yeah. Those bottom cards could be pivotal.
Yeah. And then if I notice someone doing that, I try to tell them, like, you should maybe flip your deck around.
So I'm milking the Procon right now.
Yeah.
Draw 3 cards, get 3 credits, and then Sure Gamble with 2 free dollars.
And fortunately for me, you discarded professional contacts.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
sure we'll realize that was a mistake at some point.
Yes. Instead of getting rid of the sure gamble, I get rid of the professional contacts. That's not right.
There it is.
Whoops.
We're all good here.
So remember what we talked about just now about remembering things and not doing etiquette things. Yes.
Yes.
Leave all your things on the table.
But yes, you are generating a large pile of credits, which I recall was making me very nervous at this point, because I generally depend on scoring 1 or 2 agendas out of a remote before I start fast advancing. And so with a big pile of credits, and I'm sure SMCs coming, that makes that pretty challenging.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of people have different mindsets on this out of prepaid Kate. Draw events make a lot of sense, especially if you're using quality time with those free credits. But for me, I just love professional contacts. And especially against like a Blue Sun, Kill Deck, or anything like that. Just sit back, draw the pieces I need, and get paid to do it. It feels so good.
Yeah, certain builds really kind of help that along because if you're running event heavy, as soon as you draw a bunch, you just play a few events. So it kind of helps you keep the fuel going, if you will. Versus some other builds where it's like, well, I have no money, I can't play all my programs. Pro Contacts gets you money slowly, but there's actually been instances where I've seen people run Pro Contacts and not use it because they just wanted to get the credits or just draw the cards. So
very interesting.
It's kind of weird. Well, maybe not draw the cards. There's no reason not to get a credit. It's usually the other way around.
Test running.
So I dumped the FEM earlier very intentionally so I could test run it back out, and I'm sure I waited until I have a scavenge in hand.
Yes, I believe that's the case. And running again on R&D, which I just put an upgrade down, which I believe is Crisium Grid.
Yes.
Because I'm worried about Maker's Eyes and indexings coming down.
Well thought, because I am holding back a Maker's Eye. I probably see the upgrade and go, in this situation, what I'm doing is running R&D, trying to get there and trash it, and then I'm running to Maker's Eye.
Also, I like what you're doing. If you actually do have a scavenge in hand, you actually wait to see what this ice is, to see if it's actually worth leaving it on it, versus putting it on something else that's probably more valuable.
Right.
Definitely.
And in this case, Merlin is probably worth keeping it on there.
I'd say it's worth it.
Yep.
Well, the great thing about the Grail Ice is if it's femmed, you doesn't get the extra subroutines before I encounter it.
Right, exactly.
So it'll always cost me $1 with them.
Right.
Was the Crisium, you're right.
Yep.
And I'm happy to trash.
Yeah. And that's an Eve on the top.
You've got tons of money. What do you do?
A lot of money, but not that much money, I guess I'll say.
I guess it's not tons.
Okay, it looks like I do have quite a few agendas in my hand here, so...
I wasn't kidding when I said you had 3 agendas.
You're not a lying man.
I think you drew one after I said that, and then... Yeah.
So you're sitting on 10 credits. I can't tell exactly how many I'm sitting on. But yeah, scavenging the Fem. And it looks like keeping it on R&D?
Yeah, I think you... Well, no, I think you're still pondering, but I think you just indicated, R&D.
Yes.
There you go.
Keeping it on the Merlin and R&D. So like you said, you only have to ever pay 1 credit for that.
Love it.
But at this point, it looks like I have 3 agendas in hand. We've each scored 1. So there's still 6 in the deck at this point. So I do definitely want to defend R&D at this point. Huh? Yes. Trashing that.
Well, now my Fem is sad.
Just in this case, because I'm a little late on credits. Normally, you'd probably leave that there because it still does cost them a credit every time they run through it.
And it would have only costed you 1, but yeah, if you're super low...
But I was a little low on credits at this point in the game. And I believe the econ I was drawing was Eve's, which the runner is up on credits at this point, so playing an Eve, they can easily go in and trash that.
Dropping the corroder.
Here comes the corroder.
And especially, we've seen in previous
Corroder
games.
and SMC. So at this point, I'm very nervous. And it's the Maker's Eye.
And Chris can totally find virtually anything. So whatever 1 ice this is, I'm sure he will have enough credits to get
And it is a Galahad, which the corroder is online for. And at this point, I am not searching for another Galahad because I want to keep my agenda density a little lower. And breaking through that for 2 credits.
The
Guessing
suspense.
that's an asset?
Yep.
Oh.
A swing and a miss.
Yeah, nothing.
Oh, look at that sleight of hand. Tim is a sketchy fella.
That was the one up my sleeve. Government takeover.
So no agendas on that Maker's Eye. It's okay. No. There'll be more. Trust me.
They're in there somewhere.
There's got the same old thing on the table already.
Yeah, the one thing about this particular corp identity is that if Tim really wants, at any time he can res the ice and shuffle.
Right.
And if he doesn't want to, he could just res the ice and just not activate the ability,
right.
which, gives him a lot of flexibility in that respect. But
right. And even we got the heal hand scored, so getting credits off of that. And heal hands ends up being, I think, in a lot of these kind of fast advanced decks, it's very important to score early because it ends up being quite a bit of your economy throughout the game. And so getting that one out first was pretty clutch.
And here we go. Finally have the money and the means to do the legwork.
Legwork, and we know there's at least 3 agendas in hand, I think, at this point.
I saw 3 on the camera.
I believe at least 3.
Of course, I don't know this as the runner. I'm just guessing.
No. But now in retrospect, you're like, oh man, that's a good play.
Yes. So
what were you, hold on, maybe as an introspection, what were you thinking that you were like, hey, maybe now is the time that I should legwork?
So I normally wait to legwork until a situation like this where I feel like I'm making the corp a little bit uncomfortable. He's hasn't really been re-icing up. He's kind of building the remote over there. He's the 2 ice deep, and he drops an asset which I think might be a Jackson. Oh, NAPD.
You got an NAPD. This was the best one to get first.
Okay, so only one in. All right.
And I missed
at
2
this point,
previous.
I was just sighing relief because I think at that point, yes, there were 3 agendas in hand, and I Foundry'd up a third, so half of my hand was agendas at that point, and you only hit 1. So, and it was the NAPD, which is perfect. So
now quick, Tim, when that happens to you, how did you act immediately afterwards? When
oh man, I had like a World Series of Poker face on. By which I mean I was probably giving all kinds of horrible tells because I'm a terrible liar.
Oh, see, that's not the way you need to play it. For that situation, you'd be like, curses! Why did you get that one? Because it's the only one. Yeah, out of all the cards,
Yes.
Gonna act like that, and then whether it's actually true or not, because I've done it so much now that people just know. They just run on my head anyway. So
yes.
Yeah, legwork. It's all about the timing with legwork, like what you were saying. It's it's not worth it to just blow it when you don't think there's anything. But in a situation like that, when he's been drawing for turns and turns, and I don't know if there's a Jackson, there probably isn't, and he didn't. He only installed that naked remote the previous turn, so I have a hunch everything discarded is not agendas. So after several turns of drawing, there's the index.
Here's an indexing.
That's when the legwork.
But no, so yeah, this is a good call because there's certain times that you play legwork and certain times you don't, and especially if you can read your opponent.
Oh, and no agendas in there.
Yes,
nothing.
So
Daily business.
So I'm happy to indexing now while there's no unresed ice in front of R&D.
Yes.
Because while like I mentioned earlier, that could go wrong very quickly against the Foundry. I missed the Maker's Eye earlier. I missed the indexing now. 8 unique cards and no agendas. I only hit 1 of 3 with a legwork.
Yeah, and I am.
You're getting super lucky, man.
Massive size of relief here.
I'm sad. Kate is not happy.
Yeah.
Now, Chris, did you at any point think that you could actually use his ability against him, saying you saw that indexing, if you could run on the server with the unresed ice? Do you think he would have resed it, or...?
Interesting. I did not think about that. But that is a very good point. If I indexed, click 1, and saw nothing, well, run that remote, make him shuffle, index again.
I mean, it's worth a thought whether you actually did or not, but, I mean, certain circumstances might dictate it's necessary, or depending on what he had there. I mean, Tim, what you had there was virtually not useful, because, but...
No, very good point.
Yeah. So, fortunately, he whiffs the indexing, which lets me score the agenda. Because as soon as you played the Lucky Find there, I was like, okay, he's going to run my remote and steal another one of my agendas.
Nope.
So I was actually glad that you indexed in that case.
That was a misplay on my part.
It was probably still the right play, with just a Galahad over R&D.
Fair enough, yeah.
But now you're icing up
and
again.
After, especially you whiffed on the indexing, so you probably figured I didn't have them in hand. So
I see.
I'll give you this one, sir.
Yeah, but something I always have to remind myself is, a lot of times I get the tunnel vision and I almost ignore what you're doing in the remotes. I go, okay, in 2 turns I could index in this and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta step back for a second, just take the whole picture and be like, okay, wait, I just saw nothing. What's the likelihood such and such is happening? What are these remotes doing? And just kind of see. Also, what I've noticed is that some players actually don't look at their opponent at all. They literally just look at the board the entire time. And especially as runner, it is more important for you as the runner to actually look at your opponent once in a while.
It's very good.
If you're a corp, it might actually be to your benefit to not look at the runner, but I mean, that's just neither here nor there. It's really just one facet of the game, but it can get you information.
That's why whenever the runner looks at me while I'm corping, I just look at them and give them a wink. No matter what.
Lick the lips a little bit.
Yeah. Hey, I see what you're looking at. So I see the 2 successful demos when I dirty laundry archives.
I was doing just an enormous amount of work.
Yeah.
This is 2 rounds in a row. A successful demo has been a dead card for me.
Kate can get in.
Yeah, the SMC and the test run both came out very early. So.
And Chris here has got a lot of recursion. So if there's any weird shenanigans like aggressive secretary or any sort of anything, any ice that you can't break that kills programs, you can get them back. It's really
And earlier, I almost always draw up with Procon and then discard immediately Sharpshooter and Deus Ex.
Yep.
Because those are in my mind, way more effective to clone chip out. Because they're not clogging memory and I can get either one on demand.
correct.
Because I actually in this build don't run any extra MU. It's only 4.
Oh god.
So once I have the rig set up, it's 3 MU and then not 1 wiggle room for the extra one. But until then, I normally have an SMC down on 2 breakers.
Interesting. So you're really running on a narrow margin of programs here, but you pull it out in a dire emergency just so that now, I guess depending on the situation, depends on which one you would throw away. But let's pretend there's a server that actually has all 3 types, and that's the one you want to get into. How do you know which one to get rid of at that point?
That's a good question. First, I would like to point out that once again,
that's another whiff Maker's Eye.
Maker's Eye and got nothing. That's okay. That's how it goes.
In 3 run events, you've seen 11 cards off R&D, and none of them have been agendas.
But Nam, to go back to your question, when I see all the pieces of ice and what to pull back with SMC is what you're asking?
No. It's what to overwrite when you actually clone chip and you have to kill one.
I see. Well, here's the thing. This is my rig and it's 3 MU. So I only, when I clone chip something out, I don't go over.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. So you'll have the 4th one. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Okay, so here's about to be what looks like a strange play.
A very strange, I'll admit, a very strange play. Arguably a misplay, but let me justify myself. So, as you've seen, I am very much hammering R&D at this point. After a whiffed legwork, I'm kind of assuming there's no agendas at hand, which we know is not true. Oh, and you biotic.
Biotic for fun.
So that was the other Vitruvius that was sitting around.
But the biggest weakness of my breaker suite is I only run Fem for sentries, and that means Architect is $4 every time. So even though this Parasite will never kill that Architect, it will be 2.
Yes.
Now, granted, I could have also saved money by parasiting the other piece of ice in R&D. It would have also saved money, and it would have been blown up. But I think I was just being spiteful and angry against that Architect.
Yes.
Okay, so there's an emotional response.
All right, here comes another legwork.
I didn't hit anything earlier. It's got to happen.
Yeah, and you can totally pull them back later with, you got 2 same old things.
No.
Do you want to trash it?
Card.
You've got the money.
No on the second card.
Yeah,
Oh, no on the 3rd card.
So the count for the viewers at home now is 5 multi-access events. And you've hit
With
one agenda.
nothing.
Sad times. Sad times. It's all right. Kate will persevere.
Tim, I don't know how good you are at video editing, but if you just want to throw a counter on the screen. Yeah, with a sound effect, that'd be hilarious.
Batting average for multi-access. Not very good. So, right now, I'm actually pretty nervous because you are on match point.
I'm at 5 points.
And I've only seen 1 biotic. And I have to assume you're running 2 more.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I need to start making moves.
Yeah.
Alright, so there comes another Architect.
I want to say that your rig looks a little scary, but to be fair, he's almost got the victory. If he just pulls out 1, that's all he needs.
At this point, I'm just trying to turtle up and wait for a biotic labor and an agenda.
Yeah.
Now, this goes back to the Nam. Earlier, you asked, when do you legwork? And I gave my reasoning for thinking there might be agendas.
Yeah.
In that case, I go, okay, he's about to win. I'm going to double check HQ, see everything. He only had 4 cards in hand.
Right.
So unless I'm very unlucky, I'm going to know if he has the tools to win. And then I know, okay, I need to hammer R&D, or I need to figure out what I'm going to deal with in HQ.
Right. That is, to be honest, that last legwork, I think, was pretty evident. Because once you saw him score that, there was literally no choice. Even if you didn't have the legwork, you probably would have still had to run an HQ several times. Just to be sure, because it's too dangerous.
So here comes Maker's Eye number 3.
So what I'm literally doing is burning same old things on Maker's Eyes to force Tim to res ice so I can index next turn. Which we'll see He's probably, well, we'll see. Maybe he'll catch on and put ice in front again. Maybe not.
Nope.
Oh, another
Ooh.
NAPD.
Okay,
though.
so you're stealing the right agendas, though. And from my end of the things, at
Yeah,
least.
stealing.
You had 4. You
But
had.
that does put you to
6
points to my 5. So we're on match point on both sides here. So things are getting interesting.
The game is tense. Oh, man. Well, yeah, Foundry is just a pain against indexing.
Yes.
And it's the same. I'll do the same thing against Replicating Perfection when they have a Nisei token.
Right. Just
Play a Maker's Eye, so then you can index.
right.
So, Tim, your turn. What are you thinking right now?
At this point, I'm debating, because my HQ is so lightly defended, what I really want to be doing is drawing to get Biotic and an agenda, but I really can't because you have same old thing with legwork in the heap. So I have to kind of slow roll it and hope you don't have more ways to get an R&D fast, but you, again, do have that same old thing. So I'm in a bit of a tough spot here.
Not gonna lie, when possible, I always leave one same old thing on the table the whole game.
Yes.
Just to look at the corp and go, I can do anything right now. Including, if you think you're going to build a scoring remote, I could same old thing a lucky find.
Yeah, I think that's a really good call, because I've actually used that same tactic and just try and leave it there because they get scared. Like, you know, it's like, oh, I could literally just pull this at any time, and it's always a thought in their mind. It might be a general deterrent, but if you know that, the corp can try and code that out. But there's one thing I did want to ask you guys. You're asking, what are you guys thinking right now? This game was over a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, I don't even know what I had for breakfast yesterday, so it's like...
I just remember Netrunner more than anything else.
I guess so.
It cuts straight to the soul.
Yeah. So Tim pulling that dirty move.
The dirty move.
Putting another unres piece of ice in front of
You can take your indexings.
Oh, jeez.
And shove it.
That's right.
It's all right. Finally a third pad.
Wait, what's the strength of Architect? Is it 3?
3.
It is 3.
Aren't there 3 counters on that parasite?
But it can't be trashed.
Can't be trashed.
Oh, it can't
So
be
that's
trashed.
what we were
Oh, it's
saying
just
earlier.
0, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
got
strength
it.
0, so it actually ends up going negative strength during this. Which can numbers go negative in Netrunner? I don't remember.
I believe they can.
Okay.
In this case, it must.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like.
But no, this is what I was saying earlier. It was maybe not the best play, but it was a passionate play.
Sure. Got it. Okay.
Because I hate Architect. After I ran the same build in this tournament and 2 store championships, and I managed to squeak by. But if I were to play this build again, I would probably find a way to squeeze in an admin just to deal with Architect.
Yeah.
Because man, is it a pain with Fem. $4 every time.
Yeah.
With the amount of recursion you run, just running one Atman, even if you like play one for an early effect, they screw you over. You can just get rid of it and then replay it later at a different number. I mean, that'll totally work out for you.
It'd be fine.
And in faction, you don't have to use any influence. Perfect.
That's true. Admin's great. I'm already running at 46 cards though.
Oh.
And I can't bear to go to 47.
One of those dirty 46 cards. Yeah. I do.
I had the perfect 45 card deck, and then our meta got a lot of Blue Sun, and I just added one lady, and that was it.
Yeah.
And the best feeling against Blue Sun is turn 1 when they oversight that curtain wall. Okay, I test run lady, I blow up your curtain wall, I get through it. Maybe I'll even steal something. Who knows?
Perfect.
So trying to get an R&D.
Right.
Trying to make you res that ice so I can indexing again.
Mm-hmm.
You don't bite the bullet.
Because at this point, I don't have any agendas in hand. We've scored 6 of them, so there's still quite a few sitting in R&D. So at this point, you got to figure a Maker's Eye is going to land something. An index is almost certainly going to land something.
However, you do have Jackson, so you can actually
I do have Jackson.
lower
So at this
the
point,
density.
yes. So at this point, I can lower density. Indexing doesn't make sense, so I'm most afraid of Maker's Eye. And he is same old the Maker's Eye.
There it goes. What do you do?
So this is a case where I'm afraid of the res. I'm afraid that you're going to save that unresed ice for an indexing, but you had the Jackson anyway, which has the same effect.
Right.
So it makes sense for you to res that ice there.
Yeah.
I can't blame you as the runner.
Thanks. And so I don't trigger Foundry here because I definitely want to keep non-agendas in R&D. And so you do have enough money, you plow all the way through. I use Jackson because at this point you have to do anything you can to keep it off of game points. So putting back Biotic, Business Show, and a Crisium grid to keep Maker's Eyes off, it looks like.
Makes sense.
Yeah. As it turns out, you could just be helping him out just by shuffling it right on top.
I could have been safe. But I think I looked at it, and one of the top 3 was an agenda in this case, so it was worth it.
Okay.
Good to know. You got to have that peace of mind.
So that's good.
Yes.
Yeah, FYI, I always give my opponent a cut of fate. Tell them directly, it will affect the game. Ooh!
Oh,
Nothing!
a swing and a miss
Again.
6 run events?
Chris, I'm not going to lie.
Jeez.
You have like the worst luck in this game.
But the good news is, he burned the Jackson, so that means
Yes.
he can't draw through what I've seen.
Correct.
Right.
Not in one turn. No.
I went against my rule. I burnt my last. Same old thing, though.
And just checking HQ to make sure there's no shenanigans in there.
Might as well. I am sitting on an indexing in hand, though, so hopefully
Yeah.
there will be no more ice on R&D so I can safely index.
That is a fairly expensive server to get through. So it'll take at least a little bit. And I'm putting the business show into the iced up remote because at this point, that's my way out, is to try to draw the stuff I need before you can. So I don't want you with your superior econ to just go and trash it.
Yeah, is this an attempt? Are you actually trying to get him to run on this server? Or did you read him?
I think at this point I was just trying to defend the business show. Since I knew he could get into that server fairly cheaply, and I knew he could get into that server. But we see the Lucky Find comes in for tremendous econ advantage.
Gotta love Lucky Find for 9. And that's clicks 1 and 2. That leaves me with enough for indexing and running.
Yes.
See, I don't know about you. I actually have trouble fitting Lucky Finds in all the time because of the influence.
It is a bit of a pain.
It's a tough one,
But yeah,
it's good.
I'm double checking the math right now to be sure I could get into R&D twice, and I apparently cannot.
So I'll wait for next turn. So I have 1 turn, and I cannot draw through what you've seen, I don't think, at this point. So...
Well, the Daily Business Show will
You get
allow
to look
you
at the
to.
top 2 and
Okay.
you look at the bottom. So.
Oh yeah, because last turn I drew 1 of them, Daily Business Show through the other 2.
Correct. So
and
this,
I did get the
this one
biotic,
is a new...
So I'm desperately drawing for the agendas, hoping that you'll run an R&D next turn.
Mm-hmm.
It's not working out for you.
But getting Adonis instead.
What a hunk of man.
Oh man. The man himself. And you're at enough credits that you can, I believe, index and go grab it.
Yep, and all the ice is res on R&D, so you're... Oh, are you going to
Don't
throw
do
one
it,
out
Tim.
there?
Don't do it. Say it ain't so.
I'm thinking about it.
You're sitting on very few credits right now, though, so I'm not
you
too
might have
scared.
to actually trash things to actually get that in.
I mean, that architect... Oh, you can trash the architect, even
That's
as a
right.
corp.
Even if I wanted to. I
Even
couldn't
though it's
trash
at
that
strength
architect.
-1.
Yes, he actually has to actually trash the other ice, because it can't be trashed.
So I am installing up over the top there.
Yeah.
And then Gila handsing some, or just taking your credit because I drew for the first.
Yeah.
I visibly freak out. And, ah! The pain, the anguish. At this point, I'm thinking maybe I just got to Maker's Eye. He's not gonna let it happen. He's not gonna let me index. He's proven that. And yeah, that's what.
And
I
here
do
comes the Maker's Eye. So this could be the game. So I think I res the ice.
Dude, the viewers don't know when the game's going to end. I mean, I guess they could look at the timestamp, but I mean...
Oh, that's. I always try and ignore that when I'm like,
yeah, come on.
maybe that's
So
what you.
I do have a question for Tim, not so much about the game, but how you flip your ice over. Now, the way that you flip your ice over, the card is designed so that if you flip it the other way, the strength is facing the runner, but you have it face you, and the way that you're overlapping it is covering strength. Do you do that deliberately?
No, but just for Chris, I do it deliberately.
I mean, you're inching onto my playmat. You got to.
Yeah, at this point, I just have run out of space, so I'm covering things up. Usually, I try to keep things very nicely distinct.
Well, because if you just turned it the other way, then the strength number would be on facing the other way and facing the runner, and that your overlap, they could still see everything.
I'm an evil mega corporation here now. I'm not trying to.
No, I could get in anyway. It's fine. Look,
Yeah, I know.
I have a lot of dollars.
Yeah.
Maybe you've heard of Kate. She's got money.
she has cash money.
You might have heard of me. The bronze not costing anything.
She don't need no sugar daddy.
So this is costing a lot of money, so this could put you in a tight spot. If you whiff once again on the
It's
Maker's
true,
Eye.
and I wouldn't put it past myself.
Yeah.
The question is, will you have at least 4 credits just in case you hit an NAPD?
What I'm doing right now is thinking about that, and I
Yes.
think when Tim adds the 2 net damage subroutine, I decide to take 2 net damage just to have exactly
Which is
4 credits left.
Definitely the right play.
Correct. Well played. First one. Second one.
Oh, and that's
Beta
the win.
set!
There it
Yes!
is.
Oh. Well played, gentlemen. Well
Excellent
played.
game, Tim. Well
Yeah.
played, sir.
Yes. Oh, and it was not going to come up for a little while, so
Yeah, so, oh man, so, yeah, good timing. Good timing on that run. Chris.
that was the turn to do it.
Yeah, well
Well
played.
played, sir.
So that wraps up game 1 of round 2 of the Millennium League Finals. And we'll see you guys next time.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Thanks for tuning in.
Listeners, if you have turmoil stories like myself, many multi-axis to no avail, please share your stories with us in the comments below.
And also
I
tell
need
us
comfort.
Tell us how bad we are at Netrunner.
That is also acceptable.
I don't believe we claim at all that we were ever good.
I
We
don't
just
know.
like to play, and that's it.
I parasited an architect. That's tier 1 maneuver. So.
All right. Well,
I ran a deck with salvage in it.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yes.
We're out.